When the fire refuses to die, it's not because of fuel, it's because the flame has a purpose the darkness fears. They tried to silence you, they mocked your silence, underestimated your patience, and danced on what they thought was your defeat. But they forgot. You were not fighting alone. You were never the opponent. They were waging war against the universe itself, and the universe does not lose. They pulled every trick, every trap, every lie, but nothing is more dangerous than a soul aligned with the rhythm of truth. They thought they broke you. They thought you would disappear. Instead, you've become the shadow in their mind, the pressure in their chest, the echo in every room they enter. You are the storm they laughed at before it hit. Before we go deeper, like and subscribe if you feel this message speaks to your core. When you engage, it tells YouTube that more chosen ones, just like you, need to hear this. Help spread the signal. The more that hear it, the stronger the wave becomes. The uprising is no longer a whisper in the dark. It's thunder across the sky. In every place, cities, villages, corners of the internet, the masses are waking up. They're not just noticing anymore. They're standing up, fists clenched, hearts locked in unity. And they're standing for you. You, the chosen ones, were never meant to fit in. That emptiness you felt, that was just space the universe kept open for your expansion. The path was never meant to be easy. That pressure, that was the universe sharpening your edge. You've been walking through a storm with your head down, so you didn't see the army forming behind you. You thought you were alone. You doubted your light. How dare you? The very moment you questioned your strength, your enemies sighed in relief. But even your doubt carries a weight that crushes falsehoods. Your hesitation still terrifies them, because you, simply existing, prove that their system is built on lies. Being chosen is not a title, it's a threat, a constant reminder that no matter how deep the lies go, someone sees, someone remembers, and someone cannot be moved. That someone is you. You are the fracture in their illusion, the glitch in their control, the question they can't answer. Your presence haunts them, not because of what you've done, but because of what you haven't yet unleashed. The power of being chosen doesn't come with comfort. It comes with fire. It comes with resistance. It comes with enemies who wear fake smiles and shake hands with trembling fingers. They tried to cage you, but the sky bends when you walk. They tried to erase you, but the soil remembers your name. You don't chase validation. They chase shadows, trying to escape your reflection. And now the world sees it too. The people are not blind. The illusion is cracked. The masses are not silent anymore. They are roaring. For every attack they threw at you, 1,000 eyes opened. For every lie they spun, 10,000 truths grew legs and walked into the light. This is not about revenge, it's about alignment, it's about justice, and justice, when delayed, gathers force. You are not a victim of their system, you are the reason it will collapse. So remember this, you were never outnumbered, you were just early, and now they're late. So if this message strikes something deep in you, don't scroll away. That feeling in your chest, that's the universe tapping you on the shoulder, reminding you that you're not just hearing this, you're meant to live it. Drop the number 77 in the comments if you can feel the shift, if you know this moment was made for you. The storm has arrived, and the world is watching what you'll do next. And now, let's break it down step by step, because if you truly are one of the chosen, you won't just watch, you'll stay, you'll rise. Let's begin. Number 1, when you light the match, don't cry about the fire. They fed the lie, you became the spark, now the blaze is on them, and there's no shelter from a fire the universe approves. They thought they were clever, playing gods in a broken system, pulling strings like puppeteers in the dark. They wanted you isolated, silenced, invisible, just another name erased without a trace. But the moment they struck, they made the worst mistake of all. They woke a force they can't comprehend. Not just you, but the entire universe moving in your favor. You see, when someone is chosen, they're not chosen for comfort. They're chosen for war, and not the kind fought with fists and weapons, but with truth, endurance, and light so blinding it strips falsehood down to its bones. That's what terrifies them. That's why they tried to crush you early, not because you were weak, but because even in your silence, you were dangerous. And now, the silence is broken. The lies they fed the world are collapsing like a stage set in a storm. Their plans are unraveling, and the very machine they use to control you is jamming, sparking, breaking apart in real time. Because the universe doesn't stand by while one of its own is under siege. The very moment they moved against you, they declared war against a force far greater than they could ever imagine. And that force is moving now. You are not alone. You never were. But shame on you for thinking so. How dare you doubt your own power? How dare you look at your scars and mistake them for signs of weakness when they're really just battle marks from a war that you survived and they lost? That doubt you let creep in, that's what they feed on. That hesitation, that flicker of maybe I'm not enough. That's the opening they wait for. Stop giving it to them. Do you think the universe chooses at random? That this fire inside you is some coincidence? No. You were selected because you could handle the storm, because you are the storm. Your strength wasn't just born, it was forged in the very moments they tried to destroy you. Let's be clear, they weren't fighting you, they were challenging the universe that backs you, and that is a battle they never had the power to win. Now they're running, scrambling, shouting louder, hoping no one notices the fear in their voices. But it's too late. The people have noticed. The masses are rising, and every soul that joins your side adds another nail to the coffin of their illusion. They used isolation like a cage, thinking you'd break in the silence. But they forgot. Pressure doesn't just crush, it creates diamonds. And now you shine so bright, their lies can't even cast a shadow. Your very existence is proof their game is failing. They used every trick, gaslighting, slander, erasure, but nothing sticks to the truth. And truth is all you've ever needed. It's loud now. It's marching through streets, flowing through timelines, etched into every whisper that dares to say, I see you. And the best part, they thought this moment would never come. They convinced themselves you'd fade away, that their system was too strong, too solid. But now they watch it shake, piece by piece, under the weight of the truth you carry. Because the moment you believed in your own power, the universe stopped watching and started moving. So no, this isn't a maybe. This isn't a lucky twist of fate. This is what happens when the truth stretches its legs and starts to run. When the chosen ones stop asking for a seat at the table and build their own fire instead. You were never alone in the fight. But now, finally, you're not even alone in the light. The world is waking up. The masses have had enough, and they've picked a side, your side. So let them regret ever thinking you'd stay down. Let them feel what it's like to be the target of a force they can't manipulate, control, or silence. Let them try to clean up a wildfire they started with a spark they couldn't snuff out. They wrote your ending too early. Now it's your turn to write their consequence. Number 2, when you corner the lion, don't be shocked when it bites back. They wanted a silent victim. What they got was an army. Every move they made to crush you has backfired. Every lie they told, every smear they launched, every whisper campaign and shadow play. It didn't bury you. it exposed them, like termites crawling out from behind a polished wall. Their sickness is now visible for the world to see, and the world is watching because of you. You were the trigger, the match, the spark in the darkness that made others look twice. And when they looked, they saw the cracks, the rot they were never meant to see. That's what terrifies them now. It's not just you standing, it's the fact that people are finally standing with you, loudly, publicly, unapologetically. This is no longer just about defending you. This is about defending truth itself. And those stepping forward aren't asking for permission. They're not looking for applause. They're not here for clout or credit. They're here because they see it all now. And once you see, you can't unsee. That's what your enemies don't understand. Truth spreads like wildfire once lit. These defenders, they are forged in fire. They're not polite, and they're not here to negotiate with liars. They're not fighting for attention. They're fighting because something deep inside them refuses to kneel to a system built on betrayal. And their eyes, sharp, clear, relentless, are locked on the very ones who tried to erase you. They watched you get dragged, mocked, vilified. They saw the fake smiles, the forced narratives, the coordinated silence when you screamed into the void. But now, they are the void that screams back. And this time, it echoes. Every strike against you has become a lesson, an awakening, and people are done playing nice. The defenders have risen, not just with words, but with fire in their veins and truth in their fists. They're not fans, they're not followers. They are warriors who saw the injustice and said, enough. The battleground is not metaphorical anymore. It's right here, on screens, in communities, in comments, in conversations that refuse to be silenced. You are not being defended in secret anymore. This is loud. It's disruptive. It's a fist pounding on the system's front door, and they're rattling in their chairs. The ones who tried to break you never planned for this. They never imagined that defending you would become a movement. But that's what happens when your enemies attack with arrogance. They create resistance. Not because you asked for it, but because truth always magnetizes those who recognize it. You didn't build an army. You woke it up. And now, they're here. Standing tall, standing firm. This isn't support. This is protection. This is defiance. This is war cry after war cry from people who are done being fooled. You may wonder why they fight for you. Maybe you feel unworthy. Maybe you've doubted your place. Let's kill that thought right now. You were always worth defending. The fact that they went to such extremes to silence you proves that. Weak people don't get that kind of attention. Threats do. You were never the villain. You were the evidence, the living contradiction to everything they've tried to pass off as truth. Your survival? That's the glitch in their system. Your voice? That's the sound of their mask slipping. And when your enemies launched their attacks, they assumed no one would care. They assumed everyone would stay asleep. But instead, they activated the sleeping giants. The ones who saw a little too much, the ones who have been quiet for too long, the ones who now see your face and realize you're them, you're not separate, you're a reflection. So they stepped in, not out of pity, but out of rage, because what happened to you, what's still happening to you, is a mirror held up to a much bigger sickness. And if it can happen to you, it can happen to any of them. That's why they rise, not just for you, for all of us. And your enemies feel it. Oh, they feel it. The energy has shifted. The tide is turning into a flood. The war they started in secret is now arriving at their doorstep. And not by your hand, but by the hands of everyone who's had enough. They played dirty. They manipulated, twisted, smeared. But the weight of their own lies is collapsing on them. You didn't have to take revenge. The universe is handling that part. They thought this war would stay in the shadows. They thought they could spin their narrative forever. But the truth has muscle now. It has a voice with thousands behind it. It moves in numbers, and it's only getting louder. It's knocking on every door where corruption lives, and it's not going away. Understand this. The defenders didn't show up out of thin air. They were summoned by the truth in your story. They saw the injustice, they saw the setup, and they chose sides, your side. And when that happens, when people choose not out of manipulation, but out of conviction, that's when power shifts. And now the enemy can't undo what they started. They can't rewind the awakening. The defenders are here, and they don't kneel. So let this be your reminder. You are not alone. You are not crazy. You are not exaggerating. You are not weak. You are not the problem. You are the proof. And now the proof is armed. It's alert. It's awake. And it's ready to dismantle the machine that came for you. They messed with the wrong one, and now they're about to find out what happens when the world stands behind the chosen. Number 3. They built their throne on lies. Now watch it collapse in broad daylight. They cloaked their power in shadows, but forgot one thing. Light doesn't ask for permission to shine. The veil is gone, torn down, ripped to shreds, and not gently, no. It was violently pulled back by the raw force of awakening, by the undeniable clarity that always comes when truth gets tired of being patient. The illusion is shattered, and what's left behind isn't just uncomfortable, it's damning. The people who once squinted through the fog now see everything in brutal, unforgiving detail. No more guessing, no more doubting, no more confusion. The sidelines have emptied. The fence-sitters are gone. The ones who weren't sure before are sure now. Because truth, once seen, doesn't fade. It burns. For so long, your enemies moved in silence, arrogant in their schemes. They thought they could script your story, edit your voice, and erase your impact. They believed they had the world under control, programmed, pacified, plugged in. They crafted narratives like magicians waving flashy tricks, hoping no one would ever look too closely behind the curtain. But they underestimated something they couldn't manufacture: authenticity. They underestimated you. They underestimated how powerful real truth sounds after years of noise. They underestimated the human instinct, that deep, primal part of people that knows when something isn't right, even if they can't explain it. But now they don't have to explain it, because they see it. The game is exposed, the rules they twisted, the lies they repeated, the characters they manipulated, all of it is out in the open now. This wasn't just an oops or an unfortunate misunderstanding. No, this was calculated deception, built on entitlement and upheld by silence. But silence doesn't hold when the veil falls. And now the silence has turned into a roar. People are not just aware, they're outraged. The fog is gone, and in its place is clarity so sharp it cuts. And that clarity is your greatest weapon. You didn't have to swing first. You didn't need revenge. All you had to do was survive until the truth started doing the damage for you. And now it is. Your enemies, they're squirming in the light. They don't know how to hide anymore. Their scripts don't work, their tricks fall flat, and their charm is exposed for what it always was: a mask. They never thought they'd have to answer for anything. They thought they'd always be the narrator, never the villain. But the veil lifted, and when it did, it reversed the gaze. Now they're under the microscope. They're the ones being watched. And you're not running. You're standing in the wreckage of their illusion with your head high. And you're not alone. Those who doubted you, they've flipped sides. Not all, but enough. Enough to start an avalanche. they see you now not as someone who was broken, but someone who was targeted, and that realization doesn't sit quietly. It rages, because they realize they were lied to too. They were used, they were played, and now they want blood, not from you, but from the ones who tried to make you the villain in a story you never wrote. And this is what your enemies never counted on, the power of collective vision. When enough people see the truth, it becomes unstoppable. It no longer needs proof, it is the proof. And now that the curtain is down, the damage control is failing. No distraction will work this time. No spin, no PR, no apology tour will rewrite what's already burned into people's minds. You should know this too. Some of the ones who turned away from you, they're coming back. Not with excuses, but with eyes lowered and hearts heavy. They judged you based on the story your enemies sold them. But now they know better. And don't mistake that for weakness on your part. That's vindication. That's the universe showing you. They see it now. The light has done its job. So let this moment sink in. This is what happens when the illusion breaks and the audience realizes the show was rigged. This is what happens when the monster hiding in plain sight is finally dragged into the open. They are no longer safe in shadows, because the veil isn't just lifted, it's gone, burned, scorched beyond repair. And you are still standing. You are still rising, and now the world finally sees why they feared you. Not because of what you did, but because of what you are. You're the proof that truth can survive the dirtiest war, and now that truth has an army, a voice, and a name. Yours. Number 4. They wanted quiet compliance. Now they're drowning in the noise they created. You can only gaslight the world for so long before the world sets fire to your illusion and lights its torch with the flames. Now, they speak your name differently. There's weight behind it. There's fire in the tone. No more side eyes, no more skepticism cloaked in polite conversation. The same mouths that once whispered your downfall now spit out fury in your defense. Respect isn't asked for anymore, it's demanded, and not just for you, but for every soul who has ever been dragged through the dirt for daring to stand tall. The shift didn't just happen, it erupted. The tide that once questioned you has flipped, and now it's smashing against the walls of those who built the lie. The storm they thought they controlled is spinning out of their hands, and the outrage is not strategic. It's primal, it's messy, raw, and unstoppable. You weren't just vindicated, you were avenged, not by your own hand, but by the voices they once silenced, now screaming in unison. How dare they try to erase someone who refused to be molded? How dare they manufacture realities like counterfeit money and pass them off as truth? How dare they mistake manipulation for intelligence, cruelty for strategy, control for power? Those words, how dare they, are now shouted from living rooms to live streams, across group chats and stages, in casual talks and furious posts. This outrage isn't a phase. It's not fleeting. This is the beginning of consequences. The people have had enough. They've seen too much now. The mask is off, and what lies beneath is uglier than they ever imagined. They see how deep the deception goes. They see the tactics, the smear campaigns, the staged narratives, the guilt by design strategy used against you. And they're pissed, because by attacking you, your enemies insulted everyone's intelligence, and that doesn't go unnoticed. This isn't sympathy, this is fury. You weren't just a target, they made an example out of you, but instead of deterring others, they created an army of those who now know the playbook. People aren't scared anymore. They're furious. And fury spreads faster than fear ever could. You've become a mirror, a rallying point, And now your story is bigger than you. It's a symbol of every person who was ever told to sit down, shut up, comply, and shrink themselves to fit someone else's comfort. But you didn't. You stood. You burned. And now they burn because of that choice. The outrage isn't polite, it's not censored, it's not curated to keep things civil. It's a righteous inferno. It's digital and physical and spiritual. It's in the air. It's in every repost, every quote, every tear shed in frustration turned into resolve. The same platforms they used to bury you are now being flooded with support. Their weapon is now your megaphone. Every lie they built like bricks is being smashed down by bare hands, one truth at a time. And as their empire of illusion collapses, what's left behind is a question they can't answer. Why did they try to destroy someone who simply refused to be controlled? Because the world sees it now. You never attacked. You never deceived. You simply existed, and that was enough to make the system crack. And here's the truth they can't spin. You were right, not perfect, not flawless, but right, about the corruption, the games, the agenda. You called it out, and they tried to make you pay for it. But now they're paying. With their credibility, with their following, with their grip on perception slipping between their fingers like ash. And that grip will never return. The outrage won't let it. The more they try to walk it back, explain it away, or shift the narrative, the worse it gets. Because this isn't a PR crisis. This is a collapse, and it was triggered by truth. The kind that burns slowly at first, then explodes when it touches the right nerve. And now it has. You were that nerve. You were the match. And now the wildfire rages. Let them try to contain it. Let them issue statements, plead innocence, cry misunderstanding. It's too late. The public knows. The defenders are loud. The awakened are multiplying. And the outrage is not just spreading, it's evolving. It's becoming action. It's becoming movement. It's becoming the very thing your enemies can't control. This is what they created when they came after you. They lit the spark. You became the fire, and now the world is burning down the lie. Number 5. They built castles out of lies. Now watch them sink in their own sand. Illusions don't collapse quietly. They shatter loud enough to wake the very souls they hoped would sleep forever. Now the doubters have become defenders. The skeptics who once looked at you with suspicion now speak your name with a kind of urgency, like they're trying to make up for every second they wasted standing on the wrong side. Because what they dismissed as conspiracy, bitterness, or delusion, they now see for what it was, a warning, and they ignored it. But not anymore. The illusion is crumbling, not slowly, not silently. It's imploding under the sheer weight of truth they could no longer suppress. The walls they built to protect their lies are collapsing, brick by brick, and there's nothing they can do to stop it. Because once the cracks form, the pressure finishes the job, and the pressure's coming from everywhere now. They don't just acknowledge the injustice anymore. They fight it, they call it out, they drag it into the light, kicking and screaming, without asking for permission or forgiveness. The same people who used to question your story are now using it as a rallying cry. The tide hasn't just turned, it's come crashing down on those who thought they could play God with perception. And now, the architects of this illusion are scrambling. You can see it in their eyes, in their tone, in the way they try to pivot, backtrack, rebrand. But it's all too late. Their grip is slipping. The truth is pouring through their hands like sand, and the more they try to hold on, the faster it drains away. You can hear the desperation in their voices now. Their rehearsed calm has cracked. The smirks are gone. The smug superiority has turned into panic. Why? Because the game is over. The narrative they once controlled so easily is now in the hands of the people. And the people are not playing nice anymore. They ruled through illusion, through control of what people saw, heard, and believed. They were so sure of their script, so convinced that they'd covered every angle, bought every voice, silenced every threat. But they forgot one thing: lies rot. And the longer they sit, the louder they stink. Now the stench is everywhere, and no amount of distraction or denial can cover it. They thought truth was fragile, but truth is resilient. Truth waits. It endures the storm. It survives exile, ridicule, censorship. And when it comes back with teeth. It doesn't ask to be believed. It demands to be reckoned with, and that's what's happening now. Reckoning. This isn't just about you anymore. Your truth ripped a hole so wide in the fabric of the illusion that others saw their own reflection in it. Your story became the spark that lit 1,000 matches. Now people are burning down the narrative piece by piece, lie by lie. They can't gaslight their way out of this. They can't pretend it was a misunderstanding or a mistake. Too many eyes are open now. Too many voices are speaking. And those who once played along out of fear or ignorance are now charging forward with a vengeance, because betrayal doesn't sit still, it festers, and now it's erupting from every corner. You didn't just survive the lie, you outlived it, and now it's dying loud, ugly, and exposed. Every false frame they built around your character is falling. Every accusation, every whisper campaign, every attempt to erase you is now a piece of evidence against them. The illusion is collapsing into itself, and in its place stands you, unbroken, undeniable, and surrounded by those who finally see. They are afraid, not of what you'll do, but of what you represent. Because you didn't just beat them, you revealed them. And that kind of exposure, that's something they can never recover from. So watch closely. Watch them stumble, make excuses, and launch desperate distractions. Watch them rewrite their roles in the story, trying to paint themselves as victims or misunderstood heroes. It won't work. The script is no longer theirs. It never was. They just tricked the world into believing they held the pen. But now the pen is back in the hands of the people, and they're writing something new, something real. The illusions are gone. And what remains? Truth. Fire-tested, storm-walked, universe-backed truth. And you, still standing, still chosen, still feared. Number 6. The throne was made of smoke. Now they're choking on it. They danced like puppeteers, proud of their strings, until the audience saw the wires and burned down the stage. They're unraveling, publicly, pathetically. The deceivers, the architects of your destruction, are falling, and not with grace or dignity, but with the clumsy panic of those who thought they'd never have to answer for anything. Every attempt they make to reclaim their power only tightens the noose of exposure. Their arrogance, once their greatest weapon, is now the spotlight that exposes every move, every lie, every desperate twitch. Look at them now, desperation dripping from every word, every post, every backpedal dressed as clarity. They can't hide anymore, and worse, they don't know how to act when their control slips. Their tricks, once so subtle and calculated, now look like cheap illusions performed by a trembling hand. What used to silence rooms now only sparks laughter. Their performances are unraveling in real time. And still they pretend. Still they speak with the hollow confidence of a king wearing no crown, no robe, no clothes at all. The charade is over, but they haven't figured it out yet. They still talk in circles, still inflate themselves with empty declarations, still look around expecting the world to bow. But no one is kneeling anymore. The audience has risen, And the silence they once relied on, it's been replaced with roars. The emperor stands naked, and everyone sees it now. This is the collapse they never saw coming, because deceivers always believe their own illusion. They thought they were untouchable. They thought perception was theirs to command, reality theirs to rewrite. They thought they were the authors of every story, the editors of every truth. But they forgot one fatal truth. Truth has no master. You can delay truth. You can distract from it. You can dress it up, bury it, gaslight those who hold it, but you cannot kill it. Truth doesn't need approval. It doesn't seek permission. And when it moves, like it's moving now, it destroys anything in its path. That's what you're witnessing now, the truth stepping out from behind the curtain and tearing down the stage. Their narratives are disintegrating. The contradictions in their words are stacking up faster than they can explain them. One day they say one thing, the next they flip it, hoping no one's keeping track. But everyone's keeping track now. The same public they mocked for being asleep is wide awake and furious. And here's the most brutal part. They can't stop the fall. Every attempt to patch the cracks just makes them more visible. Every slick statement backfires. Every interview, every speech, every scripted apology reeks of insincerity. Their mastery of illusion has failed them. Their magic is gone. And now all that's left is them. Raw, exposed, and gasping for the control they thought was eternal. They used to control the conversation. Now they are the conversation, picked apart, dissected, memed, mocked. The fear they once inspired, gone, replaced with disdain. The power they once wielded with ease, shattered. And as they claw to regain it, they only dig deeper into their own grave. You aren't watching a stumble, you're watching a free fall. And you, the one they tried to bury, you're still here, stronger, clearer, louder. You never needed to destroy them. They're doing it themselves. That's the curse of manipulation. It always backfires. Eventually people see, and when they see, they don't just walk away. They turn, they rise, they revolt. And now the deceivers are outnumbered, outmatched, and unraveling in front of the very people they once fooled. This isn't the fall of a person, it's the collapse of a system, a whole architecture of deception built on fragile egos and smoke. And now the smoke is clearing, revealing the mess underneath. There's no recovering from this, not when the public knows the truth, not when the spell is broken. You can't recast a lie once people have tasted the real thing. So let them flail, let them issue more statements, push more fake unity, more rehearsed regret. It's too late. The collapse is not coming. It's here, and it's loud. You don't have to lift a finger. You've already done the hard part. You survived. You stood in the fire and didn't flinch. You bore the weight of their lies, and now that weight is falling on them. The deceivers are tumbling from their thrones of illusion, choking on the smoke of their own creation. And you're watching it happen, standing tall, unmoved, chosen. Number 7. When the house is built on lies, even the wind becomes a wrecking ball. Justice doesn't knock politely. It rips the hinges off the door when it's done waiting. Listen closely, not to what they say, but to how they say it. Their voices are cracking. Their words, once smooth and manipulative, now stumble like drunks in a spotlight. Accusations fly in all directions, wild, hysterical, detached from anything that resembles logic or truth. This isn't confidence. This isn't strategy. This is panic. Raw, unfiltered, and impossible to hide. Because the walls are closing in, and they know it. The same mouths that once crafted deception with surgical precision are now spewing nonsense, hoping something sticks, hoping anything will distract the world from the inevitable collapse unfolding in real time. But nothing will. Because what you're witnessing is not just embarrassment or exposure. This is justice, and not the kind handed out by flawed institutions. This is something deeper, relentless, inevitable. This is cosmic balance correcting itself. No, it's not religious. It's not divine in the way the old books may define it. But it is real. It's the force of truth doing what truth always does. Once it's had enough of being ignored, it takes over. And when that happens, no lie can survive. No position, no status, no empire built on manipulation can stand. The universe doesn't move on our schedule. It doesn't check your title, your followers, or your influence. It checks your integrity. It waits, silently, watching, collecting every injustice, every betrayal, every fake smile, every backroom deal, every calculated hit. And then, when the scale tips, it acts, swift, brutal, unapologetic. And that's what you're seeing now. Their desperation isn't a performance. It's the sound of power being ripped away, of the system that protected them finally fracturing under its own weight. The ground beneath them is gone. And what's left? Just noise, shouting into the void, hoping to rewind a fall that's already halfway down. These aren't power moves. These are death throes. The system that once propped them up, the one they believed invincible, is being dismantled by something they can't bribe, can't threaten, can't silence. Truth. And not just personal truth, systemic truth, collective truth. The kind that doesn't just expose individuals, but the entire machinery that allowed them to rise and reign. That's the true justice unfolding here. It doesn't care about their apologies. It doesn't flinch at their denials. It moves through illusions like a blade through fog. What was hidden, revealed. What was denied, confirmed. What was celebrated, now condemned. And what was built on lies crumbled to dust. They never planned for this. They built a tower out of mirrors and convinced the world it was a fortress. But now the light is hitting it from every angle, and the reflections are shattering. Every exposed contradiction, every revealed message, every witness who speaks is another crack in the glass. And glass doesn't bend, it breaks. But here's the truth they never prepared for. Justice doesn't always strike when it's expected. It strikes when the illusion is at its peak. When the deceivers are most arrogant, most untouchable, most worshipped. That's when it drops the hammer. Not just to punish, but to make a point, a universal correction. They laughed while they did the damage. They smirked while you were isolated. They paraded their success while stepping over the wreckage they caused. But what they called victory was just delay. And delay is not escape. Delay is interest added to the debt. Now the debt is due, and they can't pay. You can feel it in the air, a shift, a global itch. The people who used to doubt you now carry your message like gospel. The ones who watched in silence now shout in defiance. The questions are no longer aimed at you. They're aimed at them, and there are no good answers left. So let the deceivers scream louder, let them spiral, let them accuse, deflect, cry foul. None of it will stop what's already moving. They are not being taken down by a person. They are being swallowed by consequence. This is not vengeance. It is correction, and it was always coming. Justice has no sympathy for those who wore masks and destroyed others for sport. It does not waver when systems collapse. It clears the path. It makes room for something new. Because what's built on rot can't be remodeled. It must be removed. And so it is. This is not chaos. This is order returning to a world that's been off balance for far too long. This is the justice they never saw coming. And you're the living proof it was real all along. Number 8. They tried to isolate you, but all they did was lead you back to your tribe. When the system cast you out, the universe called your people in, and they didn't come to watch, they came to stand. This is what they never accounted for, that in trying to bury you, they would ignite something ancient, something untouchable, something that doesn't answer to platforms, propaganda, or power. They thought exile would break you. But all exile ever does for the truly chosen is strip away the noise, burn off the fake, and clear the path for something real. And now it's here. You don't just have supporters, you've found your soul tribe, the ones who don't need your resume to believe you, the ones who don't ask for proof before they protect you, the ones who looked into your struggle and saw a reflection of their own. These people aren't around because it's popular or trending. They're here because they felt you. And something in them said, I know this frequency. I've heard it in myself. This isn't strategy. This isn't sympathy. This is recognition. Recognition that your voice rang with something deeper than noise, something that pierced the surface and found the parts of them that had long been silent. They didn't just watch your battle, they remembered their own. You woke them up, not with slogans, not with persuasion, but with your existence, your fight, your refusal to fold, your unwillingness to betray your light, even when it cost you everything. That's what called them in. That's what built this tribe. You don't share opinions, you share frequency, and in a world flooded with lies, that's more powerful than any policy, any headline, any campaign. This tribe is bound by something beyond words. There's no need to explain, no need to impress, no need to perform. When soul recognizes soul, there's no audition required. And make no mistake, this isn't a temporary crowd. This is alignment, the kind that doesn't fizzle when the drama dies down. These aren't fans, they are fortresses. Their support is not transactional, it's not fragile. It's born from knowing, from seeing, from feeling the same sting of betrayal, the same burn of injustice, and that's why they'll never walk away. Your enemies thought once the noise quieted, you'd be alone again. But silence, for the soul tribe, is a signal. It's when they move in, not back out. When the world turns away, your people come closer, not with pity, but with purpose. This is the real victory, not the fall of your enemies, but the rise of your real ones. And let's be clear, this unity isn't built on bitterness. There's no resentment in this foundation, no obsession with revenge. What's growing now is clarity. The fog is gone, the wounds have become maps, and the fire you walked through. It didn't just forge you, it illuminated the path forward. This isn't about reliving the war, it's about leading after it. The tribe you've drawn around you understands that, because they've walked their own hell and came out carrying light too. They're not just here to clap for your survival, they're here to build something from it. They don't just want to celebrate your rise, they want to rise with you. And together, that's exactly what's happening. You're not a movement, you're a magnet. And what you're pulling in now is unstoppable, not because it's large, but because it's real. And what's real cannot be faked, bought, or broken. They tried to make you a cautionary tale. They tried to make people fear aligning with you, but your soul tribe wasn't scared. They ran toward you, and with them at your side, your steps no longer echo with isolation. They thunder with collective resonance. Now, the story shifts. Not toward another battle, but toward building something clean, something aligned, something unshakable. Not in opposition to the old, but as the replacement for it. The tribe isn't here to fight shadows. They're here to bring the light that ends them. You weren't meant to fit into their world. You were meant to outgrow it and find the others who were born to do the same. Now you have, and now it begins. And so, here we are. The illusions have fallen, the truth has risen, and the chosen are no longer alone. They're united, awakened, and unstoppable. This is more than survival. This is the beginning of a new chapter written in clarity, power, and purpose. If you felt this message in your bones, don't let it stop here. Like this video to amplify the signal. Subscribe to stay aligned with this rising frequency. And drop the number 77 in the comments if you know you're one of the chosen. And share this with someone whose light is waiting to be reignited.